A man whose voice has mesmerized not just the people in India, but across the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Hina Gambhir. Loud round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Shankar Mahadevan, for taking out time for us and speaking with us on this platform today.
Thank you.
You know, your voice has mesmerized, like I said, not just people in India, but across the world today. And you made all of us go breathless in 1998. So like I said, you made all of us go breathless in 1998 and now in 2025. But who and what has made you go breathless in your life?
Oh, I mean, there are many moments, there are many people that has made me breathless, as you can say. Firstly, the fact that God blessed me with the power of music, that itself is a moment where I go breathless. When I just think of it, that I'm such a fortunate human being that I'm able to do music, compose, sing, perform, enjoy myself. And all this results to name, fame, popularity, money. It's an amazing feeling. So that's what makes me breathless to begin with. And of course, people around me. I've been blessed with the most amazing family, the most amazing set of friends, most amazing set of musical colleagues, because I think I must be one of those few artists who has performed with every single artist in the country. Whether it's classical, whether it's folk, whether it's films, whether it's any language, whether it's Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Gujarati, Marathi, Odia, Bengali, Assamese, Punjabi, all these languages I got to sing. So the list is endless and I feel breathless many times.
But tell me something. You did something unthinkable back then in 1998. You had the audacity to do something different. Do you think somewhere that is lacking today if we talk about the music industry?
You know, there's nothing lacking. There are only two types of music. One is good music, one is mediocre music. Okay? So it's up to you to identify what is good music, what is mediocre music, and I'm sure even 50 years back, both of them existed. Good music and mediocre music. Only thing, because the number of avenues, the number of channels, the number of mediums were very less, probably those mediocre pieces of music didn't even reach you. But now, we've got so many venues where we can listen to music, you know. So everything reaches out to you. So aisa lagta hai, oh my God. Now also, people have the audacity to create something path-breaking, some beautiful music, some lovely melodies, some, incredible lyrics. They are still there. But along with that, there's a lot of other stuff also happening. So people are confused. Arey yaar, kya ho raha hai? It's just information overload.
Information overload, well, that's definitely happening. And I want to also talk to you a little bit about what the Prime Minister said, here from this venue only. He said, खाना तो popular हो गया, Indian खाना, Indian गाना अभी इतना popular नहीं हुआ. I mean, that needs to be done.
First of all, let's all give a loud round of applause to our Honorable Prime Minister for what he's doing for the country. It is incredible. When a leader of that excellence is there with us, I'm sure that sky is the limit. And उन्होंने जो कहा वो सही कहा है कि खाना, Indian khana definitely has become global. You can see that every single, foreigner, he's heard about many of the dishes and stuff like dal and naan, and these things have become regular things in a person's cuisine when you go abroad. There is a perception that, Indian Bollywood music is the only form of music that has gone global. which is not true actually. I'll tell you. Because I'm one of those few artists who represent Indian Bollywood music also and Indian classical music also. When we go on a tour to perform for, Indian film music, the audience is also Indians who are staying there, or Asians, maximum. A very few number of actual foreigners, global audience come for a Bollywood Indian film concert. But if you go for an Indian classical concert abroad, I think about 70 to 80% of the audience is actually a global audience. So the true form of global music from our country is Indian classical music. That's what is global, if you go to see. तो जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने कहा सही है, हम लोगों को हमारे जो सारे म्यूजिकल फॉर्म्स हैं, लाइक इंडियन फिल्म म्यूजिक, folk music, folk music is always, it's given so much less importance, but folk music is the treasure chest of our country. It's full of history, lyrics, beautiful melodies, unadulterated voices, untrained voices who've got, mitti ki khushbu, as they say. So that is folk music. This needs to be promoted. I agree with him, and I think that artists like me should definitely plan, which we are already planning, to make our music much more global. Yeah.
On one hand, of course, we have these aspirations. Our country has a lot to offer in art, cinema, music, specifically, like you mentioned. But then there is also AI. That is the new buzzword. Do you think that can become a threat?
See, anything new and path-breaking happens, the first thing that happens is resistance and apprehension. Are, ye kya ho gaya? I'll tell you from our music industry, when synthesizers came, about 25, 30, 40 years back, people thought, oh my God, we are doomed. Our job is going to go, we're going to... Every single musician is using a synthesizer now. It helps you. Similarly, when music sequencing software came, like Logic or Cubase or Nuendo, when these softwares came, they said, oh my God, all our live music is going to go for... Every single artist globally, whether Indian or all over the world, they use sequencing software. Now that AI has come, in fact, at the Waves, we just launched a film which I've collaborated with Google, and the use of Gen AI in the creation and composition of music. We've done it's fantastic, and you are the creator, remember that. Nobody can replace you or your creative talent or your voice or your, musicianship. Nobody can replace that. These are tools to help you. These are like, you can use AI as a friend to help you sketch, to help you think differently, to give you suggestions, But at the end of the day, you are the person who decides, you are the person who takes the call, you are the beginning and you are the end. Because artificial intelligence is created by human intelligence only, So human beings have created artificial intelligence. So it can never replace, but use it because it's fantastic. Don't judge it, use it, but use it responsibly. There's a responsibility, and I think there's a responsibility in everything that you do in life. Use it responsibly.
You spoke about your collaboration with Google's Music AI Sandbox during the lab session, how did AI specifically, I want to ask you, influence the creative process while composing Rubaru?
As I always say, whether it's music, whether it's dance, whether it's painting, whether it's sculpture, the initial idea is always a trigger. The trigger can happen from somebody speaking, or a car horn that, honks something, or some beat that is playing in a wedding in the next hall, or somebody just hums something. It triggers an idea, and it triggers a creative expression in you, and that leads, and you build on that. It's like, doing a painting. The first stroke, what is the first stroke you want to do? That is where your first initial creativity happens. So AI helps you with triggers. It helps you to trigger your brain and helps you to start the process of creativity. Once that is started, there is a dialogue that happens between you and Gen AI, where you are suggesting and Gen AI suggests, then you suggest back, but the final decision lies on you. So it was a fantastic way. We started somewhere and we ended somewhere completely different. So it triggers, you improvise, you create, you expand, but you have got to be a musician of depth and a musician who's got musical aesthetics to be able to use these tools to the maximum.
So you need to essentially use them as your assistants and not really depend on it completely to do your job.
Absolutely. I mean, 100 years back, if you want to multiply 738 by 53, you'd be doing that and carry forward and all that. Now you have a calculator.
Yeah.
They're just aiding tools that help you. An architect who wants to design a room no longer has to go and, draw lines in a computer and all that. He's got software that helps him. But based on that is where his process starts, So it's like that.
Now I want to talk to you a little bit about your journey. We've touched upon AI.
Oh.
That's the buzzword. So it was mandatory. If Shankar Mahadevan was not a musician, was not a singer today, what would he have been?
See, I'm a software engineer, so I would have been an engineer working in some software firm, maybe in America or something where all my buddies are there, in various huge firms developing software. So that was what was the thought process, do I want to do this all my life, sitting in front of a monitor and, increasing the turnover of some other company by developing software for them? He said, what I want to do, or I just want to do music. And I thought that it's now or never.
So कब हुआ वो हंसी सितम?
देखिए हमारे आजू बाजू में जो लोग हैं, like I was not married then, my wife, I was going around, she supported me a lot. She said that there may be a million engineers, but I think that there can be only one Shankar Mahadevan, so you please do what you want to do. That was her. So that was the trigger point for me, which I said I should take up music. Anyway, had I not been a musician, I would have been either a software engineer or definitely a chef.
Chef?
Yeah.
You love to cook?
Oh, it's not a hobby, huh? It's a passion which is beyond explanation. My wife thinks that my passion for cooking is maybe 1 millimeter even above music.
Really?
Because music is it's a taken for granted thing, now. It's there with me. He's my buddy. Music is my buddy. Music is my pal.
And
music is my soul. But this is a slightly, undiscovered path.
And when did this affair start?
No, it's from bachpan se. I would not be lying if I say that I cook almost every day.
Even now?
Even now, yeah. It's the best stress buster. It's like creating music, yeah. Sarigama Padaniza. These are your raw notes. And over here, wahan par dal hai, sabzi hai, you got your oil, you got your cooking medium, you got your vegetables, your herbs. You choose these notes and create your song. You choose these ingredients and you create your dish. Dono mein proportion should be correct. You can't just put 5 kilos of salt. Over here, you can't keep only the dholak loud and your voice right behind there. You have to, everything is in proportion. And something common about both of them is you need to do it with a lot of love.
Anything that you created while cooking?
Music?
Yes.
I keep singing all the time.
Something that you created while cooking, something that came in your head while cooking.
I don't remember, but there must have been many
What do you
songs.
hum the most?
I've been composing for 30 years now. I just completed 30 years of composing music in this industry. So there may have been many ideas that just came,
So what do you hum while cooking?
Anything and everything. It can be a Carnatic music piece. It can be a Ghulam Ali Khan Saab's ghazal. It can be a film song by Kishore Kumar or Lata Mangeshkar. Or maybe a film song that's not released as yet. Something that I'm creating.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about the first break. I know it's been 30 years. It's been a long journey, but it's been an inspirational journey. You have mesmerized a lot of us. Trust me. I was a child when I first heard Breathless, and I was breathless completely.
Thank you for making me feel extremely old.
No, I'm just trying to say that, I mean, you continue to mesmerize everybody,
I was just
all
joking,
age
yeah.
groups. So tell us a little bit about the first break in the industry. Was it difficult? Was it easy?
No, see, I was a very successful engineer, so I never entered the industry.
Engineers were allowed to become musicians just like that.
This became here. It was not in my control. I just took a conscious decision that it's now or never. I want to become a musician. I want to do music for the rest of my life. That's it. So, so I went into music with a very casual attitude, but with serious music. You know what I mean? And luckily, I met my two brothers, Ehsan and Loy. They were already very reputed music composers in the ad industry. So I used to go jam with them, compose some stuff for them. This unsaid kind of, we have never signed an agreement between us in our entire career. And the Shankar Ehsan Loy partnership, it became popular after, songs like Dil Chahta Hai. So after this, nothing was in our control. It is the audience who takes your song and just makes it theirs, and give you so much love. And work starts happening. So, it was an organic process. And we are still there composing now, yeah.
Were there some challenging moments as well in this 30-year journey?
I mean, every project is a challenging moment, and you really wish that, this music should really do well, this film should, reach out to every single human being watching it, but that's not the case, Not all films do well, not all songs become hits, and not every piece of music that you do even reaches out. Many people must have not heard hundreds of songs that we have composed and put it out there, though they are beautiful pieces of music. So that is the irony of the situation. Ye sachai hai.
Any moment or any anecdote that you want to share with us? The challenging moment?
Yeah, I mean...
with any song or anything that you were probably working on?
Okay, we were in Pune, me, Ehsan and Loy, the director of the film, and we were having breakfast in a small little bakery outside the hotel called German Bakery. And while eating, suddenly, this is what you say, where creativity comes from. It just, suddenly the tune came into Loy's head. He said, I have to, let's wind up this breakfast fast and I have to go back to my room. Let's go back to the room where we had set up the musical, instruments and all. I need to start working on this tune. And that tune was dun da dun da dun da 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 dun da dun da dun. Anyway, that tune we
played. You
will
continue and then do the story.
No, I'll tell you what happened. So this tune we played, and then, he played the first two lines, then I composed da 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 da. So we had this sequencing software there, we put the music down. Then Javed Akhtar sahab came and he heard the tune and he was silent. He said, क्या हो गया जावेद साहब आपको पसंद नहीं आया? He said, नहीं मैं ये ट्यून सुन के I'm scared. मुझे डर लग रहा है. So we asked him why. He said, no, this tune has got an ajeeb sincerity, honesty, something which is even beyond music, and I'm very scared to put words to it, so that would destroy the purity of the tune. So, to cut a long story short, he took 25 days to write that tune which he created in 10 minutes. And I used to ask him, hua. He said, no. Finally, one fine morning he called me and said, Acha likh lo. He said, har pal yahan ji bhar jiyo, jo hai sama kal ho na ho. That's how Kal Ho Na Ho was born.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And then Grammy Award. What was the feeling? What does it mean for you, for Shankar Mahadevan?
Now it means even more, because the person who was responsible for me being part of this historical group called Shakti He passed away, Ustad Zakir Hussain. So we were a group called Shakti. We did this album, which was a long, pending decision because we were busy playing. We used to play 30 concerts in 35 days, tour crazily, but we never had a studio album. And COVID and the pandemic made us get into the studio and record this album from multiple places in the planet. And we got this album together. We put it out for Grammy. And sure enough, the music it's phenomenal because the artists, Ustad Zakir Hussain, John McLaughlin, Silva Ganesh Vinayakaram, Ganesh Rajagopalan, they are all incredible artists. When they come together, it's only magic, And sure enough, we got the Grammy. But it really means a lot now because, a man who stood by me and gave me so much love and exposure to the international arena is no longer with us. A big loss. Because the word tabla, I think, is a full stop after him. So I dedicate this award to him, actually.
What next for Shankar Mahadevan? 30 years,
Well,
you have created magic. What next?
There are a couple of things that I would like to mention in brief. Firstly, the Media and Entertainment Skill Council is formed, and I'm the chairman of the Media and Entertainment Skill Council. We should use the skill development in media and entertainment because it can be a fantastic source of revenue stroke career for the youngsters of the next generation. So that is there. My music academy, which is 15 years old, I started off 15 years back. Now we are in 92 countries where we used technology to teach music, our Indian classical music. So rooted music of our heritage taught in a very, very advanced, technology. So that is there in 92 countries. That is growing. And of course, music for films. A lot of live shows happening. Use of artificial intelligence. And looking forward to many, many. I just feel that I've still not even scratched the surface.
We wish you good luck.
Thank you.
One last question before we wind up this conversation. Shankar Mahadevan, we are speaking at a time when there is a lot of anger in the country because of what happened in Pahalgam with innocent tourists in Jammu and Kashmir. What are your thoughts? What will you like to say?
Needless to say, there's a mixed bag of emotions which start off with anger actually. We are all very, very, very angry. We are all so upset. I don't think India has been so sad for many, many years. But I know that the leadership that we have, we are not going to sit quiet. Bolo Bharat Mata ki!
Very well said.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shankar Mahadevan.
Thank you.
Wonderful talking to you. Thank you very much for giving us time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mr. Shekhar Kapur, for joining us here on Times Now and joining us during Waves, a very different concept that we have now here in India. For me personally, it's an honor to have this conversation with you. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate you on receiving the Padma Bhushan Award. I want to begin by asking you. Perfect. So, what does it really mean for you, personally as well as professionally?
I think it has a greater meaning personally, because the Padma Awards are presented not just because of the work you've done, it's the influence you've had. And the influence you had is more than the work you've done. So it's not just my films, it's what I say, what people listen, or the television things that I've done, or Pradhan Mantri, or the number of things I've done on television. So I remember my dad, before he passed away, he looked at me one day very slyly and he said, you know what, bete, paisa kamana aasan hai, कमा लेते हैं, इज्जत कमानी बहुत मुश्किल है. So in a way, it's respect. Certainly the Padma Awards is a mark of respect from the nation to you. So that's why it's important.
Very interesting. And Mr. Shekhar Kapur, we always have seen you as somebody who has taken storytelling from India to the entire world. We heard Prime Minister Modi also speaking about the importance of waves. He spoke about how we need to create in India for the world. As somebody who's seen both the sides, how does India look from outside, the Indian cinema, Indian storytelling specifically?
We're not that far away. We're not that far from the time when they looked upon us as some strange tribal cinema, you know, because what they saw was songs and dances and melodrama. Our films are melodramatic. So it took a long time for me to explain to them that we don't see life like you do. We see life as mythic. We call what you call melodramatic, we call mythic. So for example, being born is a mythic event. Falling in love to us is a mythic event. Dying is a mythic event. Getting married is a mythic event. Having a child is a mythic event. To be betrayed is a mythic event. So because we see life as mythology, fundamentally, therefore we make films in a very melodramatic way, for everything is kind of mythic.
Telling us about how the world is now viewing India much differently.
Yeah. I think because other forms of cinema has come in. For example, I really admire Korean cinema and the Korean Squid Games. It's completely Korean. Right? The performing is Korean, the storytelling is Korean. It's very Asian in a way. It's not American, it's not European, and yet it became the most popular for many weeks all over the world, the most popular Netflix program. So the world is waking up. And one of the reasons the world is waking up is because the world is accepting subtitles. I remember when I first started working in the West, they would always say, Shekhar, American audiences don't like to read. They illiterate? They said, no, they just don't like subtitles. Now the world has got used to subtitles. And as the world has got used to subtitles, so everybody is now reading the subtitles, so understanding the cultural imperative much more.
Is that the reason why we are seeing an exponential sort of growth, acceptance from not just Indian audience, but the global audience of regional cinema in India that's being produced, more than the Hindi cinema?
Well, regional cinema always been quite outstanding, but you know, it's the fault of the media. The media glare has always been on what we call Bollywood. But behind that, it hid some real talent. That real talent existed behind that glare. So, in the regional cinema, there were some amazing directors. So I don't even know why we call it regional. How can you today call Tamil cinema regional or Telugu cinema regional? It's bigger than what we call Hindi cinema or Bollywood cinema. So it was the wrong way to call it. It's cinema and some of the most talented people. To me, actually the best. My favorite cinema is Malayalam cinema. I love it. I watch everything that comes out of any Malayalam cinema. So, yeah, we just, the glare of Bollywood sort of hid behind that. And it was also media. Media was just always playing Bollywood actors, Bollywood stars. But it's now showing to us that there's another huge and very, very good cinema there.
And before I talk to you about your journey, because that's very, very interesting and we really want to talk about it, I just want to ask you, you called Waves the Davos of creative economy. Why do you think it's extremely important and what kind of potential do you see in Waves?
I think that culture leads business. It doesn't happen the other way around. We can go on talking about commerce. If you look at history, it's the culture of two nations that led to the commerce between two nations or two peoples. Because the stories are shared, and as the stories are shared, people then start to interact with each other. So culture is really important. So what the Prime Minister spoke about, the cultural economy, is a huge economy. In fact, I think people are getting it wrong. India is the largest nation with the largest amount of content being made and consumed. If you put it together, every person who goes to a party and sings, or mehfil hoti hai, gana gaate hain, if you put it together, it's probably $1 trillion business already. So to put the cultural economy in front of the manufacturing economy or the services economy is probably the right thing to do, because it's a cultural economy, and we've been talking about India's soft power a lot. Waves is the putting together, the content together of India's soft power. And I don't think the Prime Minister said that, but maybe I can say it. I think that the culture of the waves will probably lead to an extra, once it's really going together and we put it together, it'll probably lead to an extra $1 trillion in our GDP. Because the whole idea is to come and ask people to co-create with us. But also, let's put it this way, if India banned Facebook, Facebook would fall. That's how important we are. But why is Facebook not Indian? Why is Microsoft not in India? Why is Google not in India? We are one of the largest consumers of all of these things, all of these big technology sites. Why are they not coming up in India? They're not coming up in India because we don't have the culture of creating huge technology. We've had a culture of consuming technology. So Waves is the thing is, get together. You are the creative people. Create the IP in India. Let the next Facebook come in India. Let the next Microsoft come out of India. But this Microsoft Waves has to be the two brains together. You know, the commercial brain and the creative brain has to work together. So I think this is a fantastic idea to put Waves together.
You've raised a fantastic point, something that was also raised by Union Minister Piyush Goyal a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not wrong, wherein he, in a way, raised a question on the direction that our startups really are taking right now, because he tried to suggest that several mom and pop stores or maybe some rich kids making ice creams or cookies are being branded as startups, etc. Similarly, of course, like you mentioned, there is a lot of potential. Now, Waves is a platform, but do we see that happening? Is the mindset there, within the industry to become creators, like you said, to have a Facebook kind of a thing emerging from India instead of just being the consumers of the platform?
I think that India is the startup nation of the world, has always been. Because we have certainly, startup is a word adopted by what I call the top of the pyramid. I've just done an MBA, I've just come from Wharton, I'm going to do a startup. Actually, the guy that goes to if I go to Juhu in Mumbai or the beach, the person that goes and buys chana from one place, buys it as masala from one place, will go every evening and put it and sell it. It's a startup. Poverty or need, financial need is the greatest thing as far as startups. India is a startup economy. So I think what Mr. Piyush Goyal is saying is this. Unfortunately, in India, the equity markets or the private equity players in India are looking for quick returns. They're looking for short exits. So they put money in, so we 2 saal mein exit ho jana chahiye, 3 saal mein. Now, you cannot invest, say, for example, in an AI machine or an AI stack and say, I want a return in a year and a half. What India needs is equity players, finance players that come in for the long term and think about a 10-year down the line investment. As long as all investment in equity that is being invested in India is coming for a quick return, for a quick exit, we will have these small startups that make a lot of noise, but are not long-term contributors to the Indian economy.
Now, coming to your journey, because that's something that has been an inspiration for so many, it is going to inspire many, many more generations to come. Masoom, Mr. India, Bandit Queen. I mean, it's a long list, and also all are very different from each other. So firstly, I want to ask you, at the prime of your career, after giving us Bandit Queen, you left everything and decided to move to Hollywood. Recently, I think in one of your social media posts that you also mentioned that you were left with no money. I mean, what was the intention really? Where did you get this courage?
In a way, a film is a startup. And the best way to do a film is to go broke. Once you go broke, you have no choice but to karna hai. Otherwise, when you have options, the mind, the heart may say something, मुझे ये बनानी है. The mind says, ये बनानी, वो बनानी है, पैसा नहीं है, वो नहीं करते. The mind stops if you're hungry. The moment you're hungry, the heart takes over, and then you have to make it. So I believe that. I've done it all my life. I've gone, in a way, metaphorically also hungry. And then I have to make something. And then when I have to make something, I go back to the heart and say, what do you want to make? And the heart will tell me what to make. Why did I go to the West? Because I looked around myself. Remember, that was the time in India where if you wanted to make a film, the first thing a producer would ask you, hero ki maan kahan hai? Do you remember? There was not a single film in India where the hero didn't have a very dominant or a very weak mother. It was everywhere. So I wanted to make different. That's why I made Elizabeth. That was completely different. I made Four Feathers. There was about a war in Africa where the British were defeated. They were all completely different. So I wanted to tell different stories, and I wanted to pitch myself against what I thought at that time was the A-team. Sab yahan kehte hain he's a fantastic filmmaker. Let me see if you're a footballer, do you want to play with the first league or, you want to go and compete with the first league? Fail, yeah, but at least I've tried and seen how good or bad I am.
But where did these ideas really come from? Say, Mr. India, Masoom, Elizabeth, Bandit Queen, absolutely different from each other. And, usually when we speak with filmmakers or actors, you put them into a certain kind of genre. And, there is this labeling that happens when you do a certain kind of work. But with you, that cannot happen. So I want to ask you, how did these ideas really come about? What was the inspiration?
Well, I can't take full credit for all the ideas. In each case, I had good writers working with me. Very often I co-wrote, but I always had
Masoom?
Masoom, I had Gulzar Saab with me, yeah.
Mr. India?
Salim Javed.
So how did it happen? Like, what is the story?
Masoom was, I don't remember that person that made Masoom, because when I look back at that person that made Masoom, it's very difficult for me to understand that person. Because I did not go to film school. I did not assist anybody. I had very little experience of what film was. And I said, let me go and make a film. Why did somebody allow me to make a film? I have no idea. Something was happening. Somebody said, yeah, I'll fund you, you make a film. I remember the producer at that time said, I just want कि Gulzar Saab ko le lo for lyrics or R.D. Burman ko le lo music. That was it. So I went to them, and I think maybe they said no in Hindi and I didn't understand it because I just come back from overseas. So maybe I thought the no was a yes. So I think there's a part of me that has to do something that I'm afraid of. Well, when somebody said, Mr. India, oh my God, oh, are you afraid of it? Yeah, so let's do it. So if there is, that's what drives people, isn't it? As a kid, we used to see a ditch. What did we do when we saw that ditch as a kid? We wanted to jump over it. Why did we jump over it? Right? Because we could have fallen into it. Our kids were doing that all the time. So if I saw a ditch like a film, and if I couldn't fail, I wouldn't make it. It was that, यार ये बनाऊंगा तो गिर जाऊंगा इसमें. अच्छा क्या लगता तो ये गिर जाएगा तो एक काम कर बना कर देख गिरता है कि नहीं. गिर के देखते हैं. That's why each time I've picked a different genre. I've not wanted to climb the same mountain because I've done it, and it's safer now. And you climb a mountain that you don't know, it's not as safe.
But where did this attitude towards life, towards your career came from?
All art is rebellion. It's a very rebellious attitude. I've often tried to analyze it. I've written about it also because I come from a middle class family, and we were ingrained with middle class people don't take risks. Middle class people, you get a nice degree, take a nice job, then you retire well and you play cards at the Delhi Gymkhana Club, right? That was the idea. I rebelled against that. So I'm constantly rebelling against everything that I come across. I will first find a way to rebel against it. That's why I'm a dangerous director. I'm a dangerous human being that way. I will rebel against everything. I just want to rebel against everything that is, to see what lies beyond what the box that I've been put into. And if you don't rebel, you can't move outside the box, because then you don't know what lies there.
Were you like this as a child as well?
Always. My mother used to hate it when I went to the mountains of Pakpar. She knew that I'd come back bandaged and bruised. She used to hate it. And नहीं अनुमत लो जाओ तेरी वो तो सट लग जाएगी जब जिथे जाएगा अगर गिर जाएगा जाके. I used to do something very strange. If you go up, I used to go up the mountains a lot, and if I would find a river flowing down, I would start running down those boulders. What happens? You make the first jump. By the time you've picked up momentum, right, you already need to know where you'll jump next, because if you don't know where you're going to jump next, the momentum will make you fall into the water and you'll probably die. That thrill and that fear, I still find it quite amazing. I will not jump that much, but I will do it in everything else that I do, because I've ruined my knees doing that.
I will again come back to the question I asked you earlier. Who was the inspiration really? Was there any inspiration? Where did this attitude really sort of come from? As in, at times people are born like this, so were you born with it? Or you thought, or you probably, you read something, you heard about something, you saw something that sort of made you what you are today?
I think I was born to rebel against rules. Put a rule on me and I'd say, if there's a rule, then you have to break it. It's a childlike attitude, no? When we were kids, somebody said, "Bhaiya, wo jo darwaza hai na, ye khula hua hai, lekin wo darwaza khol ke uske piche nahi jana." What are you going to do? That's exactly what you're going to do. So that childlike attitude has never left me. If somebody says, "Oh, don't go out, bahut bada tufan hai," you have to go out and feel ki tufan hai kya jiske against nahi ja raha. That attitude, whatever you're not supposed to do, why you're not supposed to do it, you go out and check it out.
You spoke about Masoom as well, and we were trying to understand from you where did that idea really come from. So there is going to be Masoom Part 2 as well. As audience, what can we expect?
A very intimate film. It's not a continuation of the same story. It's a continuation of that kind of a story. It's a story of a family. And I'm still battling what the title should be. But I've now found the title, yeah. It's called New India Construction Company, which is what the story of India is, the New India Construction Company.
And it'll have...
Masoom, it'll have Shabana and Nasir, and some kids, grown-up kids, because they are playing
Your
India.
daughter as well?
My daughter's in it as well. I don't like to say it because she refuses to allow me to say that, because she's so scared that everybody will say, "Hey, Nepo kid." She says, "You cannot say I'm your daughter. You take me." So she made me screen tester.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how was it like working with your own daughter?
She forgets. She will not. I will not. I mean, when I was working, screen tested her. It didn't feel like my daughter at all. She was an actor in front of me.
And since you mentioned Nepo kids, what's your take on this entire nepotism debate that keeps coming up again and again?
So my dad really wanted me to be a doctor because he was a doctor. He said, "Meri practice hai, tum sambhalo, Should the Ambani children not take over the thing? Why is it only the film industry we say Nepo? Of course, it's an old tradition. This family tradition is a very inherent tradition in India. So I don't know why this whole Nepo... Yes, if it means that nobody else is getting a chance, yeah. But the idea that, passed down from the father to the son or from the parents to the children, it's an old Indian tradition. I don't know where this comes from. I mean, I know where it comes from, but I don't quite understand why it's there. Which business family doesn't have their kids taking over the business?
They all want their kids to actually take over the family business.
Yeah,
eventually.
and a lot of the kids will rebel. But I rebelled. I didn't become a doctor.
Yes, of course. Mr. Kapur, I also want to ask you about AI. because that's the buzzword these days. And at least in other industries, the fear is that it's going to take away the jobs of people, and hence upskilling, reskilling is the need of the hour. I want to ask you, can film industry, can cinema and AI coexist?
Let me take your first question. Whose jobs are going to go? You know that story about that man that was going to go, the CEO that was going to go for a $10 billion raise and had a conversation call fixed for that evening with his investors. He goes to his office early in the morning, and there's only the cleaning lady there. And the cleaning lady says, sir,
Pitch. I've heard that.
I found these these papers in the waste basket. Are they important or should I throw them away? He looks at the papers and they're actually his pitch to the investors. He gets really upset. What are they doing here? He's going to fire his secretary. And he's walking to the office and the cleaning lady said, sir, excuse me, sir, वो क्या है? वो एक pitch आपका जो गलत है ना? गलत है. He said, what do you mean गलत है? She said, गलती है इसमें. He just gets really angry. Bangs the door, sits down. But now she said it, so there's a little bit of doubt. Then he sees from under the door, some papers are put in, and a knock said, I've also done a pitch, sir. Pad lijiye. He reads the pitch, and the cleaning lady's pitch is better than his own. And you know why? Because she's learned the new language of AI. Because they both used AI. He used AI to create it, she used AI to create it. Both probably used ChatGPT. But she has learned a language called prompting. He is overweight by MBAs, Harvard, Wharton, all of those. That's become his problem. He cannot think beyond that. She's never been educated. She's fresh. She's come in fresh to something called AI. So she's better at it than he is. That's what I'm saying. So whose job is going to go, the CEOs or the cleaning ladies? I always use this story because it's always the people at the top of the pyramid who say, "Oh, बेचारों की नौकरी चले जाएगी." No, your job is going to go. Because one of the things is, the pyramid, the way we are structured, it's going to be flattened. If the cleaning lady has the same abilities as a CEO, then there's no pyramid. And then in a flat pyramid, who's the CEO? So it's the CEO should be worried that their job and their is going to go. So what is the new structure? If you ask me, if you see sparrows, usko murmuring bolte na, you see hundreds of sparrows suddenly moving this and then they'll change direction and they'll suddenly move, thousands of them. You can just watch them and you ask yourself, which sparrow led? How come they all move together?
And there are lovely patterns also.
Patterns, yeah. That's going to be the new way of AI. We need to find a way of managing through those structures. Coming back to AI is going to take over filmmaking, but not the filmmaking as it's like when sound came in, everybody said film is dead. Then when color came in, everybody said film is dead. Then when digital came in, and the biggest mistake everybody made is like, chalo, let's make digital look like film. But every technology brings a new way of looking at things.
When TV came, people thought newspapers are going to die, radio is going to end.
Yeah. So, but every technology brings its own culture of viewing. AI will bring its own culture of viewing, and there will be proliferation of AI because it's easier to do. In fact, A.R. Rahman and I, we've been running a music school in Dharvi for slum kids. But we've been doing hip-hop and rap. We're now opening a film school for them, an AI film school, where 11 and 12-year-old kids will learn AI, and some of the biggest AI companies in the world want to work with us to teach slum kids how to make films with artificial intelligence, because they don't have to go to film school. They don't need a camera. They need an old computer, and they need a new language called prompting. That's a new world.
So you're saying both can actually coexist?
Of course.
No
TikTok,
threat to originality.
YouTube didn't kill cinema. Anyway, let's look at India and cinema. Agar India hi dekhna hai, we have only 9,000 theaters, 9,000 screens. Do you know how many China has? 90,000. So what are we talking about? How many television sets, how many computers do we have? Hundreds and hundreds of thousands. So the idea is storytelling has many, many platforms. It's not just a screen. That's the one because the media talks about it all the time. And 3 players at the top take away all the money, which is the big stars. That's it. 9,000 screens. for our population. So our population needs cell phones. It needs this. There's tons and tons of new ways to tell stories. And one huge new way is going to be AI films. Because it's cheap. I can make, what is the biggest, 300-400 crores, they're saying 500 crores. I can make that film in 50 lakhs with AI. That's how cheap it is.
And in one of your interviews, I also heard about your cook writing.
He's sitting right there.
Using ChatGPT
Yeah.
to write a script for Mr. India?
Yeah, not right. He finally gave me a script that was probably better than any other else, right? And he confessed he got it from ChatGPT, from my own computer.
So is it a true story?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Yeah, thank God he's still cooking. He hasn't gone that way. Yeah.
Mr. Kapur, we're also talking at a time when, we have seen a dastardly terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir, Pahalgam. 26 innocent tourists were mercilessly killed. And there is a fair bit of anger in the country as well, because it has been happening and now India has decided to say enough is enough. In the past as well, we have ended cultural ties with the neighboring country. This time as well, that was one of the first few reactions that we saw coming in from the government side. How do you see these developments? Do you think it's the right thing to do? And how will you like to respond?
I think we have to do whatever it takes to make sure it doesn't happen again. Violence cannot be stopped by violence. Violence can be stopped by making sure that everything that they have, because these terrorists, they had guns. Where did they come from? They were motivated. They had people, right? So we have to do everything to make absolutely 100% sure that we are protected, that this does not happen again. That's what we have to do, whatever that is. Remember, we are a nation that is surging ahead. We are not a nation that wants to get into a war situation, but that doesn't mean the nation is surging ahead becomes seen as weak. No. We have to do whatever it takes. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that it means going to war with somebody else, but I'm 100% convinced that these terrorists cannot have acted alone. They must have got the guns from somewhere. They must have got the organization from somewhere. Very important to destroy that particular point, that it never happens again.
And with Pakistani artists being allowed or not allowed after an incident of this magnitude?
I say that's a cultural idea. It's a different thing. Suddenly you say, we won't play cricket with you. We won't allow your artists to come in. What we say? We will not sing any more Pakistani songs. Nice. We say, ab kawali nahi gayenge, ab ye nahi karenge, wo nahi karenge. No, that is not what we need to do. What we need to do is whatever we need to do that this cannot happen again. That's it. We need to protect our citizens. That it cannot happen again.
So, banning Pakistani artists or banning their films, for example, Fawad Khan's film was also supposed to release on 9th of May. Even that, we are learning, is not going to be released here. Instagram handles of several Pakistani artists has been blocked as well. Do you think it's not the right thing, perhaps? Something that won't really yield anything?
That is the expression of public anger. That's what they will do. But we are not a nation at war. But whatever we need to do, if you want to express your anger in any way that you want, you're absolutely willing to do it. But that doesn't mean that terrorism will stop. You have to do something much more dramatic and direct at terrorism. If I cancel the Instagram artists of Pakistan, do you think that will stop? No, that's a different thing. We need to make sure that terrorism doesn't happen. This never can happen again. That's it.
One last question before we let you go. What you did with the kind of storytelling that you did, not just in India but across the world, was like breaking the mold and doing something different each time. Is there anyone in the industry who you think has the audacity to do what you have done? Anybody who even comes closer to the kind of experiments?
I'm not going to answer that question. I think that there are a lot
somebody
of
who has a potential.
Yeah. The ones that have potential are too rich. They need to become poor. They need to lose everything. They need to go like I did each time I go, and I have to live on people's sofas, then their carpets, then I have no place to live. There is a certain rebelliousness. The problem with creating a corporation and then having, is that Where's the rebellion? An artist is an individualistic rebellion. Picasso never create Salvador Dali, Picasso, any big artist. If you are an artist, you need to have the capacity to rebel. You cannot be a corporation and be an artist at the same time.
I completely agree. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Shekhar Kapur. It was wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.